Hello there.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Sky Guys podcast. We are kicking off what we are calling Family Guy month here on the podcast. We're going to go back the next 3 weeks, revisit the Family Guy Star Wars parodies. We're going to have some fun with that. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Phillips. With me, as always, man's voice of the generation every single week. Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
Doing great. Um, love Family Guy. Always loved Family Guy. I was telling you off air that back when Hulu wasn't a thing, I used to get the DVD box sets of Family Guy when they came out for Christmas every year. So very excited to rewatch these, or at least this episode. I haven't seen the other two, and yeah, excited to talk about it.
Yep. Also with us today, our very short Darth Vader, Nick Fraietta, is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing fantastic. That's a weird one. Yeah, I'm really excited to go through these. I think this was my idea. I
It
love
was.
Family Guy, love Star Wars, and excited that we get to cover these. I remember watching this one, or I remember watching the trailer for this one when it came out, like the trailer, which was like summer of '07 or something, and then it finally had come out that later that year, and I remember being unbelievably excited for it. And here we are.
Yep, we are here. And Pete wants to subscribe to the Sky Guys. These are Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys here at podcast platforms, full episodes there. And definitely some fun. We're at the Family Guy month here. We just did Visions. We have some more fun stuff coming for the end of the year. So make sure you subscribe. Stick around.
Make sure you're subscribed. A lot of fun stuff. And for context, for people uh listen to the pod that haven't seen us, Nick is taller than both me and Mike, and we're
Yeah.
not short people.
Yeah.
So it's actually really funny that he is short Darth Vader. I don't know
Yeah.
why I cracked up so hard on that. But yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Um and a lot of great content coming your way. You guys know it. It'll help us out. You get some cool content. So make sure you're subscribed.
Yep. And Nick, you got to follow us on social media. How can you do that?
Follow at Sky Guys Podcast all over social media and at skyguyspod@gmail.com if you'd like to email us.
Yeah, because of our social media content, we want to catch up on another one from the Favreau region. We talked about the cost, the rise of Skywalker a few weeks ago. This comment here is from Spoon Guy 7 says, the movie just needed good characters and a compelling story. Real motivations for the characters, it would have hit gold. Characters should drive the plot. The plot should not drive the characters. It's hard to guess why a movie like this fails. My idea is that the movie is too decentralized in production. Really need a clear voice as an idea of what they want to do. J.J. was the guy you pick when you want to reboot a movie, that will make a lot of money. As they went with. Ryan Johnson did a far better job with the sixth movie, in my opinion. That movie had its faults. You can watch that movie because the characters actually feel like people, unlike this one in The Force Awakens. So, Pete, we found a Last Jedi defender in the
My,
comments.
my assumption is he meant eighth movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming he meant, but he's a
Yeah.
Last Jedi guy.
I could not disagree more. I think the characters were fine. I think the writing was atrocious, and I think that the eighth movie showed that instead of just trying to be coherent, Ryan Johnson said, "I'm going to just change every freaking thing we did in seven because I want to do something in eight." Now, that's no disrespect to Ryan Johnson. I can't do what he does. I will never claim that I could do what he does, and I can never claim to be able to write a movie, direct a movie, whatever. However, that was the problem with the sequel trilogy was so disjointed. Even if it was a bad writing and we just kept the same theme and the same kind of just keep it going, it would have been so much better. So I wholeheartedly disagree. I respect the comment. I understand the opinion, but I disagree.
Nick, any thoughts?
My favorite Ryan Johnson movie is Looper.
Yeah.
That's my only thoughts on this.
Have you seen any of the Benoit Blanc mysteries? Knives Out or
No,
the
I actually didn't see Knives Out. Yeah, I would like to see it. I know I've heard very good things about
it,
Knives Out and Glass Onion, but I
it's
have not seen.
It is on net. They're both on Netflix. They're very good. And there's a third one in that trilogy coming out this December. So if you want to catch up, you got time.
Yeah, no, I am interested in watching those. But I do like Looper. I like Looper a lot.
Looper's underrated. All right, let's get to our news here. So a lot of interesting stuff. Like obviously been in hunt for Ben Solo mode for a few weeks on the news. So let's try and like catch up some of the other things that are happening in the Star Wars universe here.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver revealed in an interview that she signed on to do The Mandalorian and Grogu because she loved the script but didn't know anything about the world. Jon Favreau told her she can get familiar with the world by watching the show, and she said she had no idea there was an actual show before Favreau told her about it.
Not surprising in the least.
I think this comes off as like, oh, how do they do this? But it's really not a big deal. She's
I
playing
think
a character. She's not writing and directing. And we always get annoyed. Like, how do you hire someone who doesn't know anything about Star Wars? If you're an actor, it really doesn't matter.
I think it's funny. I think this is just
Yeah.
it's a funny like oh like I didn't know there was a show.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But don't we think there's a better answer to give? Like I'm not saying it's a problem that she never saw the show, but do you think that's the right answer to give when it comes to like being in a show? It just sounds like you're there for a paycheck, you like the writing, and that's it, right? Like that's just how it comes off for me. I don't care that you've never seen Star Wars. I'm not saying you're a bad actress or you won't be able to play the part, but like give a better answer than that.
It's like I think it's
Am
something
I wrong for thinking that? I feel like I feel
I
like
think
it's like
I think to your point, Pete, there's more something like her agent be like, hey, like there's a whole show based on this. So maybe you should be aware of this before you can book this audition.
yeah, don't be like, yeah, I know there was a show. I just like the script. Like, just be like, yeah, I'm excited. It's a popular show. Like a lot of people love it. I haven't worked in Star Wars yet, but I'm excited. Like something a little bit better than that, in my opinion. But that's probably just splitting hairs at this point. Is if she does a great job, it doesn't really matter what she says before the movie comes out. But still, it's just like there's a better answer. We don't have to go down that road.
Yep, Nick, what else we got?
Ryan Johnson revealed in a recent interview that it would be the most wonderful thing in the world if he got the chance to do another Star Wars project. He did add a caveat that it would need to make sense for both of us, meaning him and Lucasfilm, for it to happen.
I think that's Ryan Johnson very clearly knowing that like he wants to do it, they don't want him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Deadline has reported that Disney Studios president Alan Bergman played a heavy role in the cancellation of The Acolyte.
Yeah, and Pete, we heard this like Alan Bergman stuff before. Right? He reportedly played a heavy role in the cancellation of the Hunt for Ben Solo because he apparently took forever to read the script. There was rumors he was basically trying to appease Bob Iger because he felt like Star Wars got out of control. So like it feels like Bergman has an anti like Star Wars vendetta in terms of some of these projects he's like trying to kill.
I don't know if it's that deep. I will say that he didn't just cancel Acolyte, they deleted it. They were just like everything, merchandising, everything, take everything off. I don't know if they since put it back on, but I remember once they decided not to renew, like didn't all their merch like leave the store on the Disney store or something, like super quick.
It disappeared for like a day, then they put it back.
Oh, okay. So then I take that back. Then it just seemed like they just deleted it out of existence. So anyway, I don't know if it's that deep. I think maybe because of the Acolyte, like I said, they're a little like shell shocked and they just don't know about these new projects right now and they may want to take their time or something. So I'm not in the room with them. I don't know how these decisions are made, so I don't want to speculate too much on it.
All right, what else we got, Nick?
Rosario Dawson says that Ahsoka will experience more joy in season two of Ahsoka, which I mean she better because it was pretty much the opposite in season one.
She was a little sad sack in season one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last piece I have here is in the upcoming Art of the Acolyte book, showrunner Leslie Headland revealed that her plan was for Kymir to be the founder of the Knights of Ren, which is why Kylo's theme played in the Acolyte.
Yeah,
She
I
said,
had, yep, go ahead.
I have a quote from her as well that I will read here. She said it was the design of the character as well as knowing that we were going to introduce Darth Plagueis, who had ended up with Palpatine as his apprentice. Following the rule to two, a precept that limited the Sith to just two at any given time, master and apprentice. One way to keep it going is if the stranger is the first Knight of Ren, part of the Sith adjacent cult that we all knew eventually survives.
I admit, Pete, this is definitely, I think, a clever way to handle the problem of the rule of two with Kymir being involved here. My issue is if we had gotten more of this instead of the Osha May storyline that went absolutely nowhere and wasted like episodes on flashbacks that made no sense, I think The Acolyte's a far better show.
I mean, I've been saying it for since the show came out. I think that it was just so poorly executed. All the good, really, really good parts kind of get overshadowed by the really, really bad episodes, unfortunately. Correct me if I'm wrong. Knights of Ren, that was before Kylo Ren came into existence. His name was from the Knights of Ren, or I
He
don't know,
took
for some
he took the name. He was the latest Knight,
okay.
right?
For some reason I thought that the Knights of Ren were followers of Kylo Ren. I don't know why. That is so way off. But anyway, I
Well, they
digress.
kind of were.
They were like
Yeah, but like I
Like
thought it
by that
started
point,
with
they
him.
were. That's not how it started, though. Yeah.
Right. I thought it started with him, so I'm like, how the hell did that happen? But I was so off base and so wrong that that's how it happened. So
That would have been a good idea, I think. I always just assumed that, and I know we're not going to see the end of this story, but I always just assumed that Chimere was Plagueis' apprentice. And as you know, in the rule of two, there's always two, right? And typically, the apprentice kills the master. I would have thought that Chimere just tried and failed,
I
and
think,
then Palpatine became the next apprentice. That's what that was my headcanon, but I guess that's not the way they were going for it.
I think that works better though, because I think it's a good way to keep that character like in the mix for other things if you wanted to. And like at the time Kylo
Yeah.
rolled around, he's long dead. You know that. So
Yep.
all right.
Yeah.
Is that it for the news?
Yeah. Let's do some Family Guy.
All right, so go to some Family Guy here. So obviously, this is a fun idea Family Guy came up with back in season 6 that they wanted to tell like a parody of Star Wars, and it's fun because obviously Seth MacFarlane at the time said that the showrunner, the show staff is a huge fan of the films. Lucasfilm was on board with this, so Pete, was that surprising at the time to you that like Lucasfilm actually approved this parody?
A little bit. I think that George Lucas is always very protective of his property, which I understand, and the fact that they were able to do this so seamlessly was a little bit of a surprise to me. But also, I don't think at the time I was thinking super heavy on that. I was like, "Oh, Family Guy's making a Star Wars episode. That's neat." But man, did they hit the nail on the head with this one?
Yeah, and one thing I'll add here is a note from this. According to an interview with Seth MacFarlane, he said that the only condition Lucasfilm has is that the characters had to look exactly like they do in the films. So like that's why the outfits pretty much like dead ringers for like what they look like in the actual movies.
And a side note that I just want to say is the name of the episode was Blue Harvest,
Yes.
which was the code name for Return of the Jedi when it was like, being produced. Now my assumption is that when they made Blue Harvest, Seth MacFarlane and the Family Guy crew, they
Yep.
thought it would be the only one.
Yeah.
They just said, "Oh, well, name of Blue Harvest is that funny," and then they were like, "Oh, we're making more of these. Oh, we gotta," otherwise they probably would have lined it up with Return of the Jedi. But regardless, that came out. This came out, and I'm sure it did really well, and it moved on. And what I found so cool was that obviously Lucasfilm was on board, and because of that, they got like the full music rights,
Yes.
and like they actually have the actual score from Star Wars in there, which was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for reference here, this was the premiere of season 6 and it was watched by 10.81 million viewers.
Yep, it's a lot.
Yeah, the season 5 finale, which aired, I think, in May of that year, was 9.15. So 1.5 point.
Oh wow, that's actually still pretty good though.
That's a huge jump from finale to premiere.
That is still pretty good. That nine number.
Yeah. That's oh, remember, this is 2007 when this is coming out. So it's a different TV age.
Yeah,
All right. So let's talk your general like takeaways from going back and rewatching this because like I had a lot of fun revisiting this because I think I loved like how they were like obviously I thought the character adaptations were fun. I like some of the choices they made for characters. I did have fun when they were pointing out like all like the generic flaws and things like when we had the two Death Star techs like say like can we just have a railing so that we can't fall off the side of the cliff here we can't get it here and then like like the whole sequence when they talk about the flaw of the Death Star is like yeah, this would look kind of ugly if we covered it. Like, money's an issue. We need to get like a budget reference here. Like, that stuff was fun.
definitely. I completely agree. They said something about the hole, the Death Star. They pointed out that as like which at the time was a huge plot hole. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
Rogue One covered that up a little bit, but um, I could be mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken, and if I am mistaken, I apologize. I don't think anyone referred it to blue milk before this came out.
No, I don't think so. This might have been a new thing.
Well, it was like a joke. People called it as
Yeah.
blue milk, but I think Star Wars kind of like took it a little more seriously after this.
Yep. I think so.
The first thing I wanted to discuss with you guys was who they chose to play who, like meaning the Family Guy characters that they chose for each of the Star Wars characters, and if you feel it was the right choice. Personally, I think all of them were the right choice, but like want to go into that.
Yeah, before we go into that, but P, any general thoughts on going back and watching it?
I mean, it's great. It's Star Wars: A New Hope in 43 minutes, and it's just roasting the shit out of it. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's making fun of it. It's also has pretty much the same storyline, so you're still getting the Star Wars feel, the characters. So I mean, look, if you like Star Wars and you haven't seen this, please watch it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, on Hulu if you are a Hulu subscription. Otherwise, I think they did make DVDs of just these episodes. I think so. Like you could go back and
Yeah, they did.
buy.
If you have the bundle, I don't know. You guys said it doesn't work for you, but I watched this on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I have Hulu, so I watch
I
it.
did as well. I watched on Disney Plus, but I
Yeah,
guess it
like I
uses
have Disney,
Hulu to do it.
so all my Hulu stuff shows up on Disney.
All right, so let's go ahead into this here. Nick, you want to talk about the character choices here? So, like for reference here for the audience, some of the characters that got assigned to the main roles here. Peter Griffin is Han Solo. Brian is Chewie. Lois is Leia. Chris is Luke. Stewie is Darth Vader. Adam West is who's the mayor in early Family Guy is Moff Tarkin. We have I think Quagmire and Cleveland are C3PO and R2D2 respectively. The pervy Herbert is Obi-Wan Kenobi. We have, I think, Joe Swanson is Biggs Darklight. I'm missing anybody major here, Nick.
No, and they all make sense. They put all the big characters and all the big roles, and the two Family Guy characters that got the short end of the stick are on purpose. It
Yep.
was Meg and Joe. And if you watch the show, they're the laughing stock of the show. Early, not so much. Joe was kind of respected early in Family Guy, but as it went on, he became more of a joke because of his handicap.
Yeah.
And they kind of just brought that into this episode and turned him into Biggs, who just made sandwiches.
Yeah.
And Meg was the monster in the garbage chute
Yeah.
because it's just naturally Meg should be Leia, right?
Yep.
But no, because it's Meg.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then you could not find a more perfect casting of Han and Chewie as Peter and Brian, and obviously Stewie as Vader. That is literally perfect. Chris is a little out of place as Luke, but there's really no other choice.
Yeah, I would agree with that, P. I think they nailed some of these. I do think the fun ones, especially, I do think like having like the Peter Brian dynamic as Han Chewie, I think works very well for this.
Oh, agreed. I think the casting, quote unquote, was perfect. I think it works very well. And I think the dynamics of the family in general, when together in the Star Wars universe, it makes the most sense. So I don't know if there was even much of a choice or a real big decision to be had. I think it kind of wrote itself, excuse me.
All right, so let's get into the actual episode itself here in terms of like some of the because obviously you're watching Family Guy, you're getting a bunch of jokes, you're getting a bunch of references. I will say this felt very 2007 coded, like when you watch it, it does make sense when it came out. I mean, from the Bush Cheney like sticker here, like on like bumper sticker on the back of the Star Destroyer at the beginning. You have Rush Limbaugh doing political conservative radio on Tatooine. Like there were some interesting choices made for some of these.
You know, it was 2007, like you said.
Yeah.
They had a call out to the Great Poupon commercial with the Jawas.
Yep.
It was mid to late 2000s in a nutshell. The comedy was, the humor was. Um, it absolutely was. And obviously we're not gonna talk about the plot because the plot was just A New Hope.
It's a new hope with we this is why I talk about the running gags. The running gags are a lot
Yeah.
of fun. And like a lot of the ones I remember specifically came like for all the Star Wars stuff. I think aside from the nodding meme, which we're talking about in 2 weeks with Return of the Jedi parody, every like Family Guy memorable like Star Wars parody member is from this episode.
So watched Family Guy, not anymore, so much to a
Yeah.
point that I had seen probably every episode in the first like 10 seasons probably 20 times.
Yeah.
So there are so many other Family Guy jokes that are Star Wars that I get confused a lot if they're in this or if it's just in the show that they cut to Star Wars. Like there's one where Luke like calls out one of the other rebels and says like, well, he says he says it's no bigger than a womp rat. Or it's no, I used to bullseye those at home, and then the guy's like, "Can I talk to you for a second? You just called me out in front of everybody."
Yeah.
That wasn't very nice. I thought that was in this, and I get confused that it wasn't because they do that so many times, like things like that. But anywho, the jokes are all they're Family Guy, right? Like they're silly for no reason. They're random, and that's how they make it. And I guess that's kind of where Chris comes in. He's more into that random humor.
Yeah.
Where, so that's kind of the direction they have to go in with him playing Luke.
Yeah. Pete, I know you want to talk about the couch, so I'll let you take the couch.
I mean, yeah, it's one of the iconic, one of the two things I always remember is they find this couch in the trash compactor scene, and the famous line is, I'm taking this couch," and literally flashbacks to me and my dad moving a couch through a door frame that won't fit. Just twist it this way, twist it that way. Don't put it down, put it down. We got to take the legs off, take the mattress out. It was perfect. I mean, it's one of the things that I remember really, really vividly, no matter how long it's been since I've seen this episode. And it's funny because it's almost like real life thrown into Star Wars, and you can relate to it, and you're just laughing at Peter Griffin and his son trying to, well, the characters are not, but trying to get this couch through the doorway, and then finally getting it on the Millennium Falcon. He's just holding it out on the outside while they fly away, which I find hysterical too. So, Family Guy does a really good job taking real world scenarios and putting it into like fictional things that we can all relate to and just laugh at.
Yeah, I also love like Pete. I'm sure you love the payoff. You forget the end is that they have the couch in the cockpit there at the end. That's a great payoff to that
Oh
gag.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Nick, any other memorable like running gags you want to
Well,
discuss?
there's the moment I want to discuss is Peter or Han says that he's Han Solo, and the only actor whose career is not destroyed by the movie. You want to, I guess, go into that. You agree with that statement? I feel like you kind of have to, right?
Yes, this is very obvious. Like he's the only one who like becomes like a mainstream star out of this.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Hamill is just Luke Skywalker for the rest of his life, and Leia's just, Leia's just.
Carrie Fisher
Excuse me,
famous.
Carrie Fisher's kind of just Leia. I mean, she did some other things as well, but more or less, she's kind of just Leia.
Yeah, yeah, and like I feel like there was also I feel like there were definitely like off like issues like personal issues like with Carrie Fisher that sort of impacted her career in terms of that, but for some reason like Harrison Ford was the one who jumped out where like you would think it's Hamill when you first watch the movie, but like
Well, there's
or
there's four people in this movie who are not just Star Wars. One is Harrison Ford, one's James Earl Jones, which kind of doesn't count,
yeah,
and then the other two are Peter Cushing and Alec Guinness, who are at the tail end of their careers anyway.
yeah, they were famous before this.
Right. They're at the tail end of their careers regardless. And James Earl Jones, interestingly enough, um, wasn't his rise to prominence was because of this, but it's different,
Yeah,
being that he was the voice.
yeah. Well, there's some other gags out here I think are definitely worth mentioning in this episode here. Pete, I love the orchestra of John Williams, like being a thing where Chris is so excited to see John Williams, and then at the end, like when like the family, like when like Owen and Baru were played by by Carter and Baz Petersmith, like Lois's parents, like when they're murdered, like the Empire, he comes back, he's like, no, not John Williams, and you see like the
Yeah,
chorus of John Williams there, and
yeah.
like. And then you see like, oh, we have to go through the rest of the movie with Danny Elfman, and then he like just kills Danny Elfman because he hates him.
I mean, it's a great callback. I think that's a great scene. Another great scene that I love is when Luke is doing his Jedi training,
Yeah.
and like Obi-Wan's like, very good, and Han's like just sitting there rolling his eyes, and Luke's like, you don't believe in me, do you? And he goes, oh, you mean the thing you just learned about 3 hours ago? Yeah, I don't. Like it's very like realistic to the movie too. Like you just learned about this Force thing, and you're just buying into it. That's another good part too. But yeah, no, the John Williams thing was also very funny.
That was very funny. I'll also add, Nick, I think also got a couple other good things here I thought were interesting. I think the Magic Johnson training video to blow up the Death Star was hilarious.
I That was another one that I forgot that it was in this and thought it was just like part of Family Guy in general because I remember it so well. That was a great video, and I'm thinking at the time too, like now Magic Johnson seems like I don't want to say ancient history, but he was almost drafted 50 years ago to
Yeah.
the NBA. At the time this came out, though, he'd only been retired like 15 years. It's not that crazy.
Maybe the 10, 'cause remember he had that comeback in 96.
True, you're right. Yeah, so like 10, 11 years since he was retired, so it wasn't that like crazy. But another thing you had mentioned that this was very '07,
Yeah.
and to mention, remember at the beginning when Leia, or should I say Lois, is trying to upload the MPEG to R2, and there's
Yeah.
Real Player 7 and this, that, like that is so late 2000s as well.
Yeah, very 2000s coded. What about the Red Squadron here? That was also a very fun callback where we have all the Reds and we get Simply Red in there, Helen Reddy, Red Fox, Red Buttons, Red October, and big red gum. That was just funny how they kept going over all the random reds.
Yeah, I like them. They
Yeah,
were funny. That was a funny idea.
yeah, yeah. I see Pete's just cracking up about
Yeah,
this.
no, the Red October one got me like I forgot about that part. I remember the red button. I forgot the Hunt for Red October one. So when like that fake Sean Connery voice comes on saying the Red October's standing by, I lost it.
Yeah, he goes, Red October standing by.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, that
A
was.
lot, a lot, a lot of the jokes and the fun in this has to do with the Herbert Chris connection in
Yeah.
Family Guy, which is essentially just him spying on Chris and being a pedophile.
Yes.
Which that's pretty much
Yeah.
honestly that's more than half the jokes.
Yeah. And if you are watching this with young children, be aware there are like several sexual innuendos in this show, most related to Herbert.
Probably shouldn't be watching Family Guy with young children. Just as a PSA for
If
those
you
listening.
if your children find Family Guy, maybe you should advise them not to watch it until they are old enough to understand
I
jokes.
would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so for sure.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to wrap up on with this episode here, like the bit at the end is very meta, like when the power comes back on and Chris is making fun of Peter, saying, "Oh, Robot Chicken did this already," and Lee had done this like several months earlier, and it's great. You know, it's he's voiced by Seth Green, who is like one of the Robot Chicken guys. That's very meta, very funny. That's set before I put that in the episode.
Yeah, and Seth Green's been there since the start. He literally was Chris from the first episode.
Yeah,
And I think you're right. I think he's the runner of I think he's the guy on Robot Chicken.
yeah,
I believe he is the number one creator. So that is really funny. I've actually never seen the Robot Chicken one before.
yeah. There's Robot Chicken did all of
So
them.
good.
I have seen little clips from the Robot Chicken ones that are really funny. Like I know there's one where like Palpatine was in his office trying to order lunch or something.
Yeah,
That one was really funny. And then he finds out that the Death Star was get destroyed, and he was like, "Who's they?" And that was a funny one. But I've never seen the Robot Chicken ones. But a very funny joke that they brought that in because I don't know. I wonder if that was real at all. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure Seth Green and Seth MacFarlane are on the best of terms in that they've been working together for
yeah.
a
Definitely,
quarter century.
definitely was a
That's
fun bit.
crazy.
I believe they bring us up again in the next one. I believe.
Oh, they do. They bring it up again, and it's really funny. It's really they've been working together for a quarter century.
Yeah, they definitely
Um,
have.
I wondered he does do a couple of other voices as well. He also voices Neil Goldman.
Yeah, we do see Neil Gold. We see Mort Goldman very briefly as a Jawa in this.
Yeah, and then he actually no, spoiler alert, he ends up being Lando.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think also like you could tell that there are very different PC times when we have the TIE fighters being actual TIE people. Like that one does not age very well.
No, I remember that too. Yeah, I remember watching the last night and being like, that didn't really land.
That probably landed better in 2007 than it does in 2025.
Yeah. Overall, though, I feel like the only character that we didn't really talk about, and I don't know if we have anything specific to say about him, was Vader, Stewie. I mean, the casting could not be better at him as Darth Vader being evil, like especially in that point in Family Guy. Early on in Family Guy, Stewie was
Yeah.
evil, and as time went on, he kind of just became
More mellow.
metrosexual in a way.
Yeah. They went from basically
So there's
Stewie.
not beating around the bush. In later Family Guy, Stewie became gay for Brian. Like
Yeah.
that's what happened. But in early Family Guy, he was just evil, and it fits perfectly as Darth Vader.
Yeah, they went basically from Stewie being evil to Stewie like basically spending the next like 10 years trying to discover his sexual identity.
Yeah, right, true.
And speaking of 2007, Cody, Pete, like when I saw the Deal or No Deal bit, like when Leia says where are the plans? Like, oh, take one of these briefcases. Like that is, I have not seen that show in forever.
Yeah, no, that was really funny. And Stewie was like, "Yeah, I'm just happy to be here,"
Yeah,
even though he didn't pick the wrong case.
yeah. I do think to give one more shot to Stewie. the bit when they are in the meeting and they're talking about the design flaw, and it's a very typical Family Guy writing. It's like, whoa, whoa, that's a pretty big flaw. It's like even like you're saying if somebody like hits like a bullseye that we just all blow up.
Yeah, if you remember before Rogue One, that was like one of the biggest plot holes in Star Wars.
Yeah,
And not only did we get a movie on it, then we got a show on it. So it's safe to say that plot hole has been secured.
it has. So we'll go ahead here. I think wrap up here just for fun. Who was the MVP of this first one?
Oof. I didn't know we were going to do MVP, so let me think about it.
Yeah,
I I think it has to be Han Solo slash Peter.
yeah, he's great. He's a fantastic choice. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. It's Seth MacFarlane doing the voice. Seth's obviously a huge Star Wars fan, or this wouldn't have happened. I'm sure he's seen the movies hundreds of times and knows the character of Peter very well, and he's also involved in the writing process of the show. So I'm sure that showed very well.
I think Peter's a good shout. Pete, I will also give out love to R2D2 as Cleveland, especially like when like he's like opens the side of the Millennium Falcon and like shoots a TIE fighter with a gun. That was just hilarious.
Yeah, it was very funny. I gotta give it to Peter though. I think he was Han's character or Peter's character is Han.
All right, who was the big whiff here? Who was the LVP of this group?
I, I don't think that anyone really did a bad job. But I guess if I had to pick, I'm gonna try to stick to the main cast. I guess I can go with anyone, but like I guess the one person, the one character who doesn't fit the role entirely, I feel like is kind of Lois. So I'll give it to Leia or Lois because it just doesn't seem right. But I don't know. I guess nobody else did bad. I guess if I had to pick someone, it'd be that, but not really the negative job.
The one I will throw out here is I do feel like Mayor West as Tarkin was kind of miscast. He's
I
he's
don't
not
know about
authoritative.
that. I feel like that was good.
I feel like Tarkin is more authoritative than Mayor West is.
Well, so I don't disagree with you, but who else? Like, there's no. Well, this is The Simpsons. It's
Yeah,
Mr. Burns, and there's no question.
10,000%.
But there's no Mr. Burns.
Yeah. It's a shame because like Peter's newer bosses, I think in the later seasons probably would have fit this better, but they're not introduced yet.
Actually, Smithers would probably be Tarkin, and Mr. Burns would be the Emperor. But the Emperor's not in this movie. That's why I said that. But yeah, there isn't really an option here. And fun fact is, until her death, Peter's that boss in Family Guy, Angela, was played by Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about the boss after Carrie Fisher. There's like they have some
Yeah, I forget his name, but Carrie Fisher was still around obviously at the time, so they were using Angela, which is her name. So there isn't really an evil character outside of Stewie to choose from. I guess that's if you think about it, like all the bad guys in the entirety of
The chicken.
I mean, I guess his father-in-law, who they used for the Emperor,
well,
I guess.
well, I guess spoiler alert, the chicken is Boba Fett next week.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
there you go.
and they use his father-in-law, Carter, as Palpatine.
James
So
Woods.
James Woods is a good shout because James Woods would have been fun.
James Woods could have been good, but then again, the voice of James Woods is James Woods. So you have to get him to come back.
I
Mhm.
mean, Adam West is Adam West, just like a Adam West playing a fictionalized version of himself.
That's a good point too. But I feel like Adam West was a regular on the show, so it was just him
Well,
doing another day's work.
Adam West is the mayor on the show.
That's what I'm saying. He was a
Yeah.
regular. James Woods was only in like 3 episodes.
Yeah, but I think he was just so memorable in his episodes that like I would think that would be definitely a good spot to use him.
So yeah, it's interesting.
All right, so I think that's it for this week. Next week we'll go on to something Dark Side, which is the parody of The Empire Strikes Back. And I believe Nick, comes out in season 8 because I think there was writer strike shenanigans involved with this one where they had to wait a while to produce it, but like
Yeah, this was season 8. It was not the
premiere.
premiere. It was towards the middle or towards the end, and then the last one is season 9 again towards the end or middle.
Because they wanted to do it immediately, like afterwards. I think the writer strike sort of threw a wrench in that.
And then we'll jump ahead real quick because they did not do the prequels. They made a joke about that at the end of the last one that the Cleveland show was going to do them. Obviously, that was a joke saying that they didn't like it, and then the Cleveland show is considered not very good, so they'll do it. But that obviously did not happen. That was just a joke.
Yeah. It'd be funny if they came back like today. Say, okay, we're gonna do more Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that'd be a good idea. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen a new Family Guy episode in probably close to 10 years.
Yeah,
Maybe than that, maybe 5 years, but still, I haven't seen a new one in some time, and I have no interest to go and watch a new one. And maybe that would be a good idea to get people back into the show.
yeah. And I'll give a little spoiler warning to Pete for next week. James Woods is in next week's episode.
Okay, there we go. Never saw something Dark Side. So
James
yeah.
Woods is in there.
I don't remember these two. Like this one, I've seen like 100 times. The other ones I've seen, but I really don't remember.
I think for me, it might be when they came out, and maybe one time like shortly afterwards. That's really it.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a fun exercise. I think guys are coming on here as always. Pete, people want to follow you on social media. I'm going to do that.
At Consy29 on Twitter, CUNSY29, AP Tower 308. Posted this background on Reddit. Make sure you check them out.
Yep, Nick. One more time. People want to follow us on social media. I'm going to do that.
At Sky Guys Podcast all over social media, and at Sky Guys Pod if you want to email the or at skyguyspod at gmail.com if you'd like to email the pod.
Yep. Just follow me on social media, mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS331. This is over on the Justin the Suffering podcast. Nick, the past few weeks, we're getting into midseason check-ins for our football teams, the Jets and the Giants. So we'll see here. I think the interesting thing for at least for your side is the Jackson Dart situation. We'll see how that goes for them.
Yeah, let's see if he can keep improving week over week and eventually year over year. That's the goal.
Unfortunately, he keeps losing weapons because guys keep getting hurt. So like that's not fun.
Yeah, well, hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully he's not next.
Yeah, we'll hope not. But we'll be back next week. Until then, may the force be with you.